Welcome back to ESCMID TV. With us in the studio, no stranger to ESCMID TV, having been on the program for a couple of years in the past now. Maiken Arendrup from Europe is here with us from Denmark. Just presented a paper as part of the EUCAST team as well. You're chairing a subcommittee on antifungal testing, if I'm correct with that.
Absolutely, yes.
Your paper this morning, Maiken, was presented about what then, if I may?
Yeah. Well, actually, it's not a paper. It's this morning. It was the title of the talk was EUCAST or commercial methods, which method to use? And that's because even though we have reference methods for susceptibility testing,
yes,
with associated breakpoints that actually perform very nicely in contrast to 10, 20 years ago, then these methods are not so easily adopted in routine clinical microbiology labs or laboratories. And with the emerging resistance worldwide, it is important to also be able to do susceptibility testing, or at least a screening to identify which isolates are for sure susceptible, it can be treatable like the clinician's experience, and which cannot or should at least undergo further investigation. So that was the motivation, I think, behind inviting me to give this talk.
Excellent.
Yeah.
And the aspect that you most wanted the audience to take away as a result of your presentation today?
That was actually that, just as for many other things, expertise is key.
Yes.
Because this is not just as simple as it may look from the outside. You cannot just buy a test and then run and be happy, because there are different test principles. Some are agar dilutions, some and gradients, some are broth dilution based systems, some are automated or semi-automated systems. And when you combine these different methodologies with different antifungal compounds, where some are huge, some are small, some penetrate easily into the agar, some doesn't, and on top of that have organisms that grow in different growth rates,
yes,
then it's very difficult to standardize these commercial tests equally well across different compounds and across different organisms, so that they will always perform nicely. An e-test strip for compound X against this or that fungus will not always behave equally to the reference methodology, and then you're in trouble if you adopt a breakpoint.
Of course.
Yeah. So I really wanted people to understand the cons and the pitfalls, and try to give some overall recommendations on what are the criteria they have to review before they set up the test, and what should they be looking on, and which general things are don't do this, or no-goes, and which are potentially okay.
Fantastic. And as we said at the beginning of this interview, you are no stranger to ESCMID, obviously. This Congress just keeps growing and growing. What's your view on it for this year in Vienna?
I think it's great. It's a great conference. I like the multinationality. I think it really brings people in from all parts of the world with different expertise. I think it's always bad to praise yourself. I've been taught by by my parents, but I think that we are very open in Europe to inviting also speakers from other countries.
Indeed.
And that gives you a more, it's more driven by expertise than it is by nationality, in contrast perhaps to some conferences elsewhere. And I think it's very well organized, I have to say. The scientific level is great.
I think in this case the praise is well deserved.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for being with us once again and taking time from your schedule.
Yeah.
Pleasure to see you once again.
Pleasure to see you.
Thank you.